Did this guy just crawl out of a prison camp? That's what the cop said when he shoved a chair at the defendant, barely looking at him, laughing with his buddies, already picking their target. He was cracking jokes in front of the judge, calling the man a clown for not having a lawyer, treating him like trash, no reason to show respect to someone who didn't even have a name, or so they thought. When the defendant wouldn't speak, the cop got annoyed, ordered him cuffed right there in front of everyone, thinking he'd put this nobody in his place. Nobody expected that black man to pull out a badge list of all the one that said, Director, FBI. Yeah, that really happened. You want to know what silence sounds like when it slams into a room full of people convinced they're in charge? Picture the district court on a gray Monday, air thick with the scent of old coffee and damp paper. Not a window open. Half the seats filled with staff and a handful of cops, the kind of crowd that treats most days like a formality. That's how the day started, until the left door swung open and 2 security guards marched in, so serious you'd think they were bringing in someone dangerous. Between them walked a black man, no cuffs, but close enough to be mistaken for a threat, his shirt wrinkled, a spot of dried blood on the collar. Eyes fixed ahead, no anger, no plea, just cold stone calm. Nobody knew his name. Nobody cared at first. He didn't even look up when a woman sighed in pity from the front row. He sat down, back straight, eyes glued to the judge's empty bench. No family, no lawyer, just a vacuum of identity so deep even the court clerk paused at the Felino address. No occupation, no record, nothing. She shot a suspicious glance toward the technical room, like maybe they'd made a mistake. Then the judge surveyed a middle-aged white man, face a little red, shuffling his paperwork, tapping the microphone, waiting for someone to play their role. 5 seconds passed, maybe 6. A little boy's voice rang out from the gallery, slicing the silence. Is he a bad guy, Mom? You could hear the mother's embarrassment as she pulled him close, but the damage was done. People laughed. A cop in the back snickered. If you don't see a problem with that face, you need your eyes checked. More laughter, some nods, the usual public sport of ridicule. The man in the center of it all didn't react. Didn't blink, didn't shrink, didn't fight back. That made it worse. Innocent people protest, guilty ones cower. He did neither, and it set everyone's nerves on edge. The judge cleared his throat, tried to get the proceedings on track. Defendant's name? No answer. No name in the file. The clerk whispered. No representation. Another slow nod from the defendant. Want to say anything before we start? Just a gaze, 3 seconds of unblinking, steady eye contact, enough to make the judge lean back as if hit by something invisible. But nobody was ready to look that hard. See, there's a kind of silence that doesn't just fill a room. It changes the air. That's what they got from this man, and it scared them because they didn't understand it. People like that people used to being mocked, dismissed, doubted, and get surprised anymore. They don't play the game. They just watch. Somebody in the back started filming on their phone, a secret recording for the office chat. Another snapped a photo, sent it with the caption, live show, self-representation, get your tickets. Nobody knew the joke was on them. Not yet. When the judge read the charges, the laughter picked up against sarcasm, cheap shots, the works. One officer, louder than the rest, said, "What's this guy think? He's in a movie." A secretary doubled over with laughter. They called him Denzel. The defendant stayed still, his lack of response a glass wall the room kept crashing into. Some tried to shake him with video clips, body cam footage, resisting arrest, the usual lines, but even the tech crew admitted the files were corrupted. Corrupted is just a new word for edited, someone muttered. They played a TikTok edit, mocking him, adding viral music, turning his silent walk into a meme. Even the staffers got in on it. Looks like he played a corpse on Law and Order, someone joked. Through it all, he just sat there, silent, upright, a reflection of their worst impulses staring back at them. No one, not even the judge, could break him. Then came a twist the envelope. A woman in gray, unnoticed until she walked straight up to the defendant, flashed a federal liaison badge, and placed an unmarked envelope on the table. She left as quietly as she arrived. The man took his time opening it, read the single handwritten line, prepared. That was it. But something in him shifted, a readiness, a subtle tightening, and the officers near him felt it like a chill. The judge, maybe sensing the current had shifted, asked about the man's background. Former federal investigation work, came the calm reply. The words hung in the air, heavy as stone. A young officer scoffed. If you're FBI, then I'm the Pope. Laughter, brittle as broken glass, but no one dared push it further. Meanwhile, the tech crew tried to dig deeper classifications, codes, layers of red tape. Classified assets denied. The screen spat back. Attempts at higher credentials got them warnings, security locks, and then a final email from Washington. Maintain current state. Do not ask. No one dared ask what it meant. And then the system flexed. The police chief arrived, not in uniform, flanked by two men in black suits. They didn't speak, didn't need to. Just their presence told everyone the game had changed. The judge stood, the room froze. Even the loudest cop in the room shrank back. At the exact moment tension threatened to explode, the black man opened a briefcase and, with deliberate calm, produced his badge silver rim, dark blue, eagle crest. Elijah Ford, Director, Federal Bureau of Investigation. The silence that followed wasn't just shock, it was annihilation. The man everyone had laughed at was the one person in the room with the power to destroy their careers, their reputations, everything. Ford stood, not with a speech or a demand, but with a single line. You should have stayed as silent as I did. That's it. That was the verdict. The laughter, the jeers, every mocking video and snide comment now echoed back like a curse. They had exposed themselves. Their true nature was laid bare, not by him, but by their own actions when they believed no one was watching. The fallout was immediate and unstoppable. Within hours, the FBI seized control of all police data, every local account locked out, every record rerouted. The police chief's access was revoked, his authority gone. No statements were made, no apologies issued. The next morning, officers who had laughed the loudest found their names erased from the system. Their careers ended not by firing, but by deletion. No trace left. The headlines wrote themselves, FBI director humiliated in court. But Ford gave no interviews, no statements. His silence became the new order, enough to freeze the country's law enforcement machine in place, enough to spark nationwide soul-searching. Every school, every agency, every training center replayed that courtroom video. Not for justice, but for a lesson. Law students sat in silence, faces pale, as professors paused on Ford's calm stare. Justice isn't what you say. It's what you reveal. The system that once mocked him now studied him, his silence a mirror, his calm the only thing left standing after the laughter died. And if you ask me, that's the story America should never forget. Not about guilt or innocence, but about what gets exposed when you think you're safe to laugh. So let me ask, what would you have done? Would you have laughed? Would you have joined in? Or would you have had the courage to stay silent, just long enough to see which side of the line you really stand on? Now, I want to hear your thoughts. Was Ford right to stay silent and let the system expose itself? Or should he have spoken up sooner? Was justice served? Or did this reveal something darker at the heart of our communities? Let's talk about it. Where do you draw the line between silence and complicity? And what do you think real justice looks like in a world where power can be so easily abused? Share your take below.